So, little more breaking news. And Lauren, it's up to you to tell me whether or not this is okay, because you are my expert. You are my expert on all things New York.
Ooh, okay. I'm
You're my
excited.
New York person, and you probably saw this already. But you are my New York person. You need to let me know what we're dealing with here. Schools, we're going back to school. New York
Yeah.
schools will return to in-person classes in the fall. No option for remote learning, the mayor said. And Bill DeBlasio, great guy. He said,
oh my gosh. I just think we're sick of this guy here. And it's just been like between DeBlasio and Cuomo, it's just been like a pissing contest. And it's like everyone who's not in on their joke is really so sick of them and their faces. I can't wait till DeBlasio goes away. I hope that we can make Cuomo go away too. I'm
Me
so
too.
bored, Ron.
They are, and honestly, especially with those two, it's a literal, I mean, they are, if they were in a room and there was nobody else in that room, I would be willing to bet real money that they just be like, no one else is here. Can we just do what we really want to do? Can we just do what we've been dying to do? And then they both whip their dicks out and they decide who has the bigger one. That's really what
They get out like
they've
a
wanted.
measuring tape.
Yes, and they're just like, well, yours is bigger. Okay, you win. I think that is their biggest goal. Like the two of them, they just want to be in that room and they just want to find out once and for all. That's what they really, really want. But do you think it's too soon? Do you not think? And by the way, the disclaimer you always have to put in here: Lauren is not a scientist. I am not a scientist. Lauren is not a doctor. I am not a doctor. This conversation is for entertainment purposes only. We're just two citizens trying to make sense of the world. So calm down. Anyway, do you think it's too soon?
It's just my hippie opinions here. I think something that would be ideal would be kind of like a hybrid solution, like a whatever's best for you. So if for some reason you have an immune disorder or there's some medical reason that this just isn't the right fit for you right now, I think it's great if you have the option to continue to join online. But I think, unfortunately, which points to greater issues in our society, a lot of children, students in New York City have not had adequate internet. They have not had the laptops and the technology that they need to be able to sign in and learn.
Right.
So a lot of students have gone really undereducated for the last year and a half. And I think that's a real damn shame because, again, we're throwing billions of dollars at the police. And I'll say it again, fuck the police. We should throw that money towards making sure that every single student has the education they need to start their careers on equal footing with everybody else. And that is equity, my friends. So I think we are so far from that here. And DeBlasio making everyone's decisions for them, saying that everyone needs to go back to school because he is trying to have a competition with Cuomo that they should just do in a closed room someday. It's not fair to the rest of us.
Yeah, and this is the thing that we're all struggling with and trying to make sense of, where it's, of course, you want to see the kids being able to go back to school. A lot of them are, just struggling to learn. A lot of them are very much struggling emotionally because they miss that social interaction. And which is totally understandable. I really don't envy young people right now. On the flip side of it, of course, you're wondering, well, is it safe enough yet? Are enough people vaccinated? Is everything going in a forward direction? And we're dealing with so many unprecedented variables and elements on a daily basis that it's just. And then the thing that is most bothersome and overwhelming is the fact that we have a society where it's like, when you ask the question, are you putting the economy first or health first? you will be disappointed with the answer you get 100% of the time when you ask that question, regardless of your feelings or your analysis of what's going on in the world. If you ask that one poignant question, are you putting the economy first or are you putting people's healths first? The American society, the answer will always be, it's about business, baby.
It's so ironic though, and I know that we would agree about this, Ron, but like if you take care of the people, the economy will flourish. It's just a matter of like
Sure.
which level of the economy is our priority, and for us it's the billionaires. But if we want a really healthy economy, I think making sure that like we are not dying is something that's really important.
Yeah, and of course, just taking care of people during a pandemic. So yeah, I'm with you. And really, when you say the economy, what we're really meaning is the ruling class,
Billionaires. Yeah.
capitalism, the billionaires, the people who are benefiting from the system. Are they being put first, or is the health of society being put first? And we've gotten our answer many times over. From
So,
Wall Street bailout to Wall Street bailout to us not getting a reoccurring UBI, the answer is the billionaire class, the ruling class. Their needs
yeah.
come first. We are an
It's
afterthought.
it's like being in a relationship with somebody and you're just like, "Hey, can you stop doing XYZ?" And they're like, "No." And then you go and like tell your friend, you're like, "Do you think that they'll change for me?" And your friend's like, "No, you should leave them." And you're like, "I think that I'm going to give them one more chance." But it's been almost the entirety of our existence as a country that we have been in an abusive relationship with ourselves and the ruling class. And I thought that by shoving all the tea into a harbor and saying that we don't want other countries to make our decisions for us, I thought that meant like we would like to have some autonomy as working class people, but apparently that wasn't the goal. And it was all about having white property owning men who are billionaires make our decisions for us. And I could go very much on for a very long time. Thank you for
Who knew
listening.
they were just going to look out for themselves? Who saw that coming? Who could have guessed?
Yep.
I always say if the United States was somebody I was dating, all of my friends would have had an intervention by now.
We need to
Like,
sit down, Ron.
yeah, like they'd be like, Ron, what do you see in this person? Like, what do they treat you nice? Like,
No.
my partner gives me health care, and so your partner gives you health. Yeah, yours doesn't. What do you see in this person, Ron? Well, I I one time I just kind of made a tally, and I realized like so many of the things about the United States that make it like even like just kind of anecdotal things. Like I'm just not like, hey, guns. Not a fit. Baseball, actually, no. I'm more of a hockey guy. What about apple pie? Indifferent. Not one of my favorite desserts. Fireworks, don't like them. Like the list goes on and on. Where I'm just like beer. Not most of the domestic shit, other than the micro stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Like, do you
You're
ever think
right.
about that? Did you ever like break it down? And then like some of the things that I highlight, I'm like, well, I really like punk rock music. You've heard of London, right? Yeah, I have. I really like. I love the beach. Other places have coasts, Ron. Other places have coasts.
A lot of places
A
have
lot of
beaches.
places.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes, and I keep coming back to the sad realization that I'm here because my family is.
Yeah.
And that's always tough to like keep remembering. But along with being in an abusive relationship, we are bankrolling our abusive partners.
I know.
They're taking all of our money and then we don't get any benefits in return, and I just don't feel I feel like we should break up.
If the United States was a dating app, like you would totally swipe left. Like we
I
all would.
would.
Like none
I
of
would.
us would. Like, can you imagine what that profile was like? I love Jesus and my guns, and if you don't like that, tough.
They're
I
wearing like a
don't have
MAGA hat.
yeah, right. I don't have living wages or health care, and that comes first. And if you don't like it, Wall Street will always be my first love. And you're just like, I don't want to even like see this person on the bus, let
No.
alone go out with them. Oh man,
Yeah, I
swiping
think
left.
that would pretty much be the bottom of my list. Like any like Switzerland, I think would be really up there because I landed in that airport once and I switched planes there, and the airport smelled like chocolate, and I think that was that was a good indicator for me that things are going pretty well there. They have healthcare. They don't get into wars.
You
It's
know,
nice.
this is kind of a goofy thing to say, but I really do mean this. Sometimes you can tell, some things about a place by the vibe of the airport. Like
Chocolate.
you actually can. Yeah, like you could just feel like a more welcome vibe at some airports over others. Now I feel like in the United States um that's not always a fair analysis to make, because in the United States it's like Atlanta, for instance. That's pretty much the busiest airport in the world. So if you are in the Atlanta airport, chances are people aren't going to be crazy friendly. It's a very high stress airport. I don't think that's necessarily reflexive of Atlanta as a place. It just happens to be one of the busiest airports in I think in the world, definitely in the country. But like when you go to other places, like sometimes you can get a vibe where it's like, oh, they're just a little happier here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like they're happy that the airport smells like chocolate,
Yeah.
and
They're
then
not
and
worried
then
about paying off their doctor's bill.
yeah, like totally. Like this you got off the airplane in Switzerland, and there was the smell of chocolate, and Oompa Loompa came up to you, gave you a golden ticket, and that was for universal health care. And you were like, I'm sorry, I'm not staying. And they were like, well, we got to take this back. And you were like, maybe I should come back here again.
I will never leave. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't we've talked about someone asked me like if I went somewhere else, what would be like kind of like they asked for 10 countries. And so I gave them 10. I don't know if it was like totally in order, but I just kind of I mean some of my decisions are based on like just where I would want to be, for like comedy and stuff like that if I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't here. So it's like London would be very high on my list, although I know England has their own set of problems, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your